Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Mani, and I'm here with Tatiana. And we have Fadila and Trevor. We are all here today on Solano Community Campus in the TV studio. And today we're going into a deep dive in marijuana, specifically in California. Now, I do want to admit to you guys that my knowledge as of right now is not top shelf, right? I don't have the best pre-existing knowledge on the subject. But I could imagine it's the case for a lot of people here in California. I just know that is basically something to get you high. You can eat it, drink it, and inhale it, and that's it.
Mhm.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's what we're all told, basically.
Yeah, like that's what's also portrayed a lot.
Yeah.
So I did read on Adverse, I think published in 2023, that is actually two versions of marijuana, if that makes sense. Like one's titled THC and then the other one CBD. And these are two chemicals that you can find in the marijuana plant, which I was like, oh my gosh, what even is the difference in this? Like, what even is this?
I know when I first learned it, I was like, what is that?
Like, are these codes or like what are these random letters? Do you know anything about what specifically this is? Like, just any general explanation that you can give us.
I had a general idea as to what they were, but I didn't have a definition. But according to Kimberly Holland with Healthline, THC is basically to get you high. CBD is the medicine side of it. And there are some products that are just THC only. There are some products that are CBD only. There are some products that have both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When you say both, what really is that? Like, what's the effect of that one?
That would typically be probably some sort of edible that's either meant to put you to sleep that has some like melatonin in it. I have seen some products that have CBD, THC, and melatonin.
Wow. Okay.
And then there are also some products this isn't very common, but like lotions have there's like a handful of lotions that do have a small amount of THC in them, but it's mostly CBD.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what they call hemp.
Yeah.
You guys know like the hemp lotions they sell at like Ulta.
I never even tried that. Like
I did try it and it left your skin very soft.
Yeah, I agree. It was really soft.
Yeah, and I also on my past work, I used to have a client that he have arthritis, and he used to buy CBD cream for his joints.
Oh wow!
And I was like, "What is that?"
Did it leave like any positive like?
Oh, he said that it helps a lot with pain.
Oh wow!
At least there's that.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know." At that time, I didn't know because growing up, always your parents tell you marijuana is the devil. You shouldn't do that. But with research, you realize that it's not that bad. At least if you don't want to get high, well, you can use the medical part of marijuana to help if you have any sort of condition.
Yeah. I see what you mean by medical now. Like I would never think that you could do something so deep from just some cream, like outside the skin.
Yeah.
That's really nice. You don't have to inject anything or get like a physical pill. You just put it on top of the skin.
Oh, they also have
yeah.
oil, liquids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you can drops.
Wow. That's of CBD?
With CBD.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
That's new.
And it helps with what I know.
Oh, okay.
I don't use, but I know because I was doing my research. They have also drugs that help you to relax, for relaxation, help people to sleep, or when you have nausea, also help. Well, no, for pregnant women, of course. But yeah, I was like, oh, it can be used for positive things too.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking from somebody who actually has used it a handful of times, I have used what you were talking about, the oil. You can it's like a little, I don't know what they're called, but it's got the dripper. You can
the
dropper.
Yeah. You can take that, and it calms you down. Really, you can't really feel the effect when you take it, but it just if you have a presentation the next night, or if you're taking a test the next day, you can take that. It mellows you out, so you can go to sleep. It's not meant to put you to sleep, but it does calm you down, so you can go to sleep. So it gives you that ability. Yeah.
I know you mentioned edibles earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So just a curious question, do they have like a different, I guess, effect rate? Like, would you feel like the edible first before you with the oil? Like, do they have like a different speed of when they kick in?
I can I can definitely tell you that you'll probably they're about the same.
Okay.
If you ingest it, they're about the same. I think the edibles take the longest.
Oh.
Um, because I have taken some like indica edibles and usually takes about 20-30 minutes for those to kick in.
Hmm.
The CBD oil, it's been a long time, so I don't exactly remember, but
Okay.
they do it does you won't notice it, but
Okay.
it does take an effect 10 to 15 minutes.
Like, like not just one big hit, like
No,
right away.
no, it you gradually just start to calm down and mellow out and
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I can understand why it's used in the right way, right?
Yeah.
Just to touch more on the medical idea of it, I know that there are some side effects. Obviously, like with the CBD being the cooling, relaxing, mellowed out way, while THC is like the euphoric high. What I just want to ask, especially from you, so do you have any opinion based on the effects of each? Would you say like
The concept, yeah. Well, I read this article from Peter Grinspoon from Harvard
Mm-hmm.
in 2020, April 2020. He was saying that they made this research on patients.
Oh.
They asked these patients that have multiple sclerosis and Parkinson, and the one with multiple sclerosis, he say, "Well, it helped me with pain." And the one with Parkinson say they help him to have less tremors.
Mhm.
And it's also they also find into veterans that comes back from home after war that help them to treat the PTSD. So those will be like, oh well, yes, the good things about it. People that suffer from chronic pain, it will help a lot. But that's the CBD part, I guess, the medical part of marijuana. But when people use it for enjoyment, it can have like
Okay.
very bad side effects, like when you're driving because you are in that euphoric stage.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can cause you to be impairment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For adolescents, well, I know that because I was, diving into to be able to talk to my daughter because she's an adolescent.
Mm-hmm.
So she's in that age of exploring, and I don't want her to go and try something without she
Right.
doesn't know
Right.
Yeah,
what it
right.
is and what it will do on her body. So adolescents, their brain is not fully developed, and when they try marijuana, it can cause them future problems
Mm-hmm.
on their brains. For people that have problems with their heart and the high blood pressure, is bad too because it will get your heartbeat and your blood pressure high.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
let's see, it's the withdrawals are
Mm.
really bad because it's addictive. So yeah, it have a lot of things that you will think about it twice if you really want to go and do it
Yeah. Speaking
for
of
the high.
speaking of like the long-term effects, I also read that like taking marijuana for medicational purposes can also lead to Alzheimer's with like those that have Alzheimer's that run in the family
Mm-hmm.
or like
Oh
that
wow.
have like the genetic components
I
to lead to
see.
it. Do you have any like knowledge on that?
Yeah, I heard also that it affect your mind,
Mm-hmm.
so it will make you long term have dementia.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like
A very
something. Yeah,
50-50
it's
game
the
we're
very
playing here.
50-50
Yeah.
gain over here. I will say, on my opinion, that it is better to use it for medical reasons.
I completely agree.
Hmm. I think that's really good that you're informing your daughter about this because I do see, I will, not even just me, I'm sure we all have seen it in the media
Yeah.
Yeah.
of it being kind of glorified, like, oh, this is like a fun time, yippee. And I feel like that just takes away from everyone really being educated on how to really use it, you know? Like a lot of people do like the substance abuse and call it fun.
Mhm.
And there are safe ways to use it. So I'm glad that you're letting her know that because
Yeah, and not just that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they start with marijuana and they jump to another drug
yes,
to see
I
what
remember
it
the
is.
gateway drug.
Exactly. So I would say just wait until you're
Like you're of
older
18.
enough.
Yep, 21 and older.
Yeah, 21 and older if you want to try, but don't stay.
That's the way it should be. That's
I
how
I
it's
would say
supposed
props
to
to
be.
you.
Mhm.
I've met people who they use it so much that they can't function without it.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
And I
wow.
think if you
Okay.
get to that point, that's I think where you should probably slow it down
Mm-hmm.
a bit, because it becomes a problem where like just like addiction with anything else,
Yeah.
whether it's alcohol, whether it's any other narcotic, like
Yeah, like caffeine or anything.
right,
Yeah,
even caffeine. Like if you take it enough times, your body will depend on it to just go about your day. I've seen people who straight up quit their job because
Oh,
they
wow.
don't have access to it. And like you said, like if you even if you take the CBD, it can kick in while you're driving. That's why they always tell you
Mm-hmm.
to like if you're gonna take this, make sure you don't have any plans for today, and if you do, make sure that they're at home so you don't,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that because that's driving under the influence.
Exactly.
Yeah, not just that. Just think about it. That is very expensive.
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
It is very expensive. So yeah, if you're broke,
Sure, it could be expensive
that's
to buy
not
it, but
something that you want
also
to do.
treat yourself after you messed yourself up. You know, like
Yeah.
the medical expenses are already at an
Hi.
all-time high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So should triple it or double it in any kind of way, right? I do want to point out that there are like, well, we already talked about the side effects, right? Like we know that there's upsides and downsides to both, I guess, strands. I don't know if I want to call it that. I guess chemical components
Mhm.
in marijuana, right? From just personal experience, do you guys have any upsides and downsides you want to, just take note on?
Well, I don't really like go into like marijuana because I'm not a personal user,
Mhm.
but I've heard of the stigma as you mentioned earlier. And recently, as I was doing my research for this podcast, actually, I learned a lot about the medicinal aspects, and I think I lean more towards the medicinal like side of marijuana.
Yeah, it at least has a good use, right?
Yeah,
Something
due to
positive.
the fact that some people could get addicted if they do it for recreational purposes. So
That's the pretty scary part, right? It's
Yeah.
the addiction.
Mhm.
And I believe I forget what her name was. I feel like Sylvia has like an article on Adverse on that website, and she goes into how it's just as addictive as like sugar can be. Like
Yep.
Oh,
just like
yeah.
you said, like your body will depend on it, even if it really doesn't need it.
Mhm.
Like it will think it does. Like it will kind of evolve itself to need it.
Yeah.
So that's the really scary part, and that's what we see in media a lot. Is like people going straight down, like rock bottom because of marijuana.
And I think that's where like the stigma of like the negative side of marijuana comes
Exactly.
from.
Yeah. Exactly, because that's what we see
Yeah,
before
that's
the
all they
positives.
show. Yeah.
Yes,
There's
yes.
also people misusing it and people putting other things in it that aren't meant to mix with it.
Oh, that is very true.
Make it extremely dangerous for people that are giving it to.
Yeah, because I also heard that depending on the presentation of the product, that's the way that it's like higher on THC. Like
Oh,
yeah, they smoke oil
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
and they make oil out of the THC, and I'm like, what?
And what do they do with the oil if you don't?
Oh,
that's
like,
a
they smoke it.
Oh,
How do you?
yeah.
It's
How do you
like
smoke
yeah,
oil?
oil wax or
Yeah,
whatever they
you,
call
Oh,
it.
you,
the-
you dip it in the oil and then you can light it
Oh,
and then you can smoke it that
that's
way.
new.
It'll actually catch?
Yeah.
This is my
But
first
they
time
say that
hearing
is
of
very
it.
strong.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's the strongest form that you can. That
Well,
you
I can believe it. It's like
Yeah.
condensed oil. Like,
Yeah.
but
Oh
it's
my
not
gosh.
just that. Also, smoking will affect your lungs. It will irritate your lungs. So yeah, it's a lot of bad things about.
Yeah.
oh my, yeah.
It's not that bad like cigarettes. It still is, it's a natural product. The only bad thing is that they are being making more and more things and make it more and more strong
Mhm.
and more addicted.
Oh,
So,
The addiction is making people get so creative, huh?
oh
Because I
yeah.
would never have thought you can smoke oil.
I know that's my first time hearing
Like,
of
I've
it.
never heard of that.
People get desperate sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
down bad.
it also varies from person to person what they decide to do with the marijuana.
Yeah, a lot of misuse. Like, just like you said, like the common I guess, conception of marijuana use is negative because of that, right?
Yes.
We see a whole lot of people just abuse it and not really more of the medicinal side and the helpful side. And I feel like historically, we can, I feel like we all agree that historically it was a lot of back and forth on the opinion, right? First, doctors were putting it in their prescriptions, and it was actually medical use. But I feel like that transition from medical use to that fun personal use
Yes.
made the public opinion just hit rock bottom, you know? Is there anything that you guys want to just take note on that we probably glossed over when it comes to like the public opinion?
Well, there's a lot of stigma, as I mentioned before,
Yeah.
and when you look at the history of marijuana, there's a lot of racism linked to it because back in like I believe like the 1800s, when like Mexican immigrants came to the United States, a lot of people associated marijuana with them, and they thought that if you like ban marijuana, it could drive like the like immigrants out of the country, which means more jobs for people here. And it also like, as we touched on before, there's a lot of addictions. But when you also look at like more go back in history, it was used for medicinal purposes
Yeah.
initially. And recently in 2016, under Prop 64, marijuana was legalized in California. So
Yeah, California is the biggest producer of marijuana in the world.
Yep.
but
I
think,
believe it.
yeah, but I think that also has to do with the fact that California is more of like a liberal state when you
Yeah, very
compare
much
it-
more open.
California is
Yeah.
a very diverse
like
state
an
compared to the
open-minded
others.
state.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you compare
Well,
to
also if you look at just statistics in general, you can find this. It's not very hard to find that like the even now in other states, the demographic of the people that are being charged with possession of marijuana are predominantly African Americans. Even though you'll have, let's say, me for example, right? If I'm driving through Nevada, which is not legal in Nevada,
Okay.
whatever amount I have, they're going to charge me for that amount.
Okay.
But if I was African American, they would double that.
Yeah, like it would be a lot more harsher.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I believe
Oh,
it.
that's good to know.
Yeah, historically, there's a lot of villainizing of marijuana because of who it's associated with. Because it did start off like light, you know, like the general opinion was positive at first. And I do believe that, like, once they've seen that, oh yeah, Mexican people are using it, oh, we gotta just ban this. Let's get this out of here. And that's just a really tragic shift because they focus more on the negative than the positive, and it takes away from people that actually use marijuana for a good reason.
Yeah.
So,
But it's more because of the misuse.
yeah, that's very true.
So, let's say me, I have my 3-year-old, and if I'm in the park playing with him, but then it's someone over there smoking a joint, I'm not gonna be happy about it.
Yeah.
I feel disrespected, and I feel my kid is disrespected. You can do that in another place. So, if I were more less open mind, I would be like,
Yeah, speaking of like smoking
really?
in public, it's completely illegal to smoke marijuana in public in California.
Just inconsiderate, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing as smoking a cigarette in public.
Yeah,
People
like
don't want to be around you. They don't want to inhale that.
Yeah, but people still do it.
Exactly.
And that looks bad.
Right.
exactly.
So then people
that's
demonize
what people
more.
see. Yes.
As
Oh,
you
look at
mentioned,
that.
it's like,
Oh,
And it just makes it even worse. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But some people really use it for, for the good things. That is.
And
They have a medical condition. That is fine.
yeah, I do want to also bring up like not like exactly like seeing it just out while you're with your daughter at the park or something. We always see it like in person, but also social media and like online sources will
Yeah.
push that agenda more.
Mhm.
Like you're gonna see like a rap star smoking before you see someone like, hey guys, here's my CBD lotion. You can use it for XYZ. We don't see that part. It's like everything that's famous or popular is generally negative, and it's like, oh, fun time.
I think that also has to do with the glorification of like the whole partying culture,
Exactly,
if you
yeah.
will, especially in like 2025
Oh man,
with
oh
shows
my
like
gosh.
Euphoria and stuff like
Euphoria
glamorizing
set us
it.
back.
Yeah, it's true. Like I say before, it's more public that demonize because you see more the people that is using marijuana in their own way, but you don't see the people that really, are doing something really good about it. That helps, like cancer patients.
Mhm.
Cancer patients, when they are in the chemotherapy, they tend to have pain, they tend to have nausea, so and they lose their appetite, and they use marijuana, and a lot of them say that it helps.
Oh yeah, I read that like I believe it was CBD helps with like loss of appetite, anxiety, and pain relief and stuff like that.
So yeah, I think we all agree on that part.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
for sure.
completely.
I mean, I would definitely say like the CBD, I think both kind of relieve that anxiety a little bit. Um, but I have seen some people who aren't used to it or don't take it very often. When they take, let's say, an edible that has THC, 5 milligram edible, not very big,
Okay.
and they'll panic. Like when it kicks in, they will panic because all of a sudden their senses are changing.
Mhm.
They don't know how to adapt, or like that fan over there is 10 times louder than it was 10 minutes ago. And that I think is where marijuana also gets a bad reputation.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The people who are not used to taking it are taking it, and I mean take it if you want, but
Yeah, like that immediate kind of shock
Yeah.
and surprise, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this is scary. Like,
Yeah.
this is so scary.
yeah,
So they probably like go around telling their tale, like, oh my gosh, don't do it.
Yeah, I hate
I was
marijuana.
tripping, dude.
hmm
Horrible experience I've ever had. And what's really sad is a lot of younger, it's like more marijuana users become younger and younger, like
Yep.
every year. And it's just crazy because I did read on this historic article, right, about the come up of marijuana, how it came in the US in the first place. And I believe it was a physiologist that tested on kids and animals.
Oh.
Right.
Animals.
Which I'm not that surprised because we see that in history come up a
Yes,
couple
that's
times,
true.
but it's still surprising. Like, oh my gosh, how are those kids dealing with marijuana,
Like,
right?
how did it affect them today?
But even then, it was more medicinally used. Like, it was to treat convulsions and migraines and different kinds of, I think, sexually transmitted diseases later on. But today, it's just really heartbreaking because it causes more harm than good. Because of the misuse,
yeah, it's taking away from the people that actually need it for medicinal use.
Exactly.
Yeah, but also for kids, like you say, they are using it more and more younger.
Mhm.
Is this thing of, oh, they are cool, so I wanna be with the cool
Yeah.
kids. Oh, they are doing it, so I'm gonna do it too.
You can argue because when they're younger, it's easier. I feel like it'd be maybe easier to get addicted to it as early
Yeah,
exposure, and then just be harder throughout life to get off of it.
yeah, and you find also the, let's say, the bad people who give them for free the first time, maybe the second time, so they make them
Or like the
addicted.
dispensaries and stuff.
Exactly. Oh no. Let's say the bad people who
Oh,
find,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
who make the poor kids addicted. So then, at some point they don't give them no more freebies. So they gotta find money and buy.
Yeah, it also like it has a lot to do with peer pressuring and like trying to
Oh,
fit
man.
in to be cool and stuff.
And just like you said, that euphoria was prime example of that.
Yes, it just glamorized that.
Yeah, makes it
whole-
seem like, well, if you're this old, you should be doing this.
Mhm.
And like I said, that's what social media portrays the most. It like pushes that agenda.
Yeah.
It's just really unfortunate. But
It also doesn't help that it's easily accessible.
yeah.
Like it's not as simple as like, oh, you can't go into the dispensary because you're 20, not 21. It's like you can go to your friend who probably knows someone who can
Exactly.
get it for you.
Speaking of which, like it's illegal for 18 to 21-year-olds to buy marijuana, just like for recreational use, but they can only buy it if it's prescribed by like a physician.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good because
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, but when everything started here in California to be legal, people used to to buy marijuana, they actually need a prescription and some kind of card to be able to buy it in the dispensary. Now, oh yeah, I'm 21. Let me go. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Like you're buying candy, but very expensive.
Yeah, I know we went into the chemical compounds of THC and CBD, right? But I also know about, I think, indica, sativa. Like, what exactly really is that?
Well, I think it's different forms of different plants, essentially.
Okay.
Like the marijuana plant itself is a species, and it has these different variations. Like the leaves are different on like the indica plant compared to the sativa plant.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, typically I would tell people who aren't used to taking it to take a hybrid, which is in between indica and sativa, because it's not going to make you hyper, but it's also not going to make you sleepy.
Okay.
It's just going to get you high,
Middle ground.
so you can have that experience and take it all in, and that way you have a better understanding of what you actually.
Because I know I was thinking like, how do I take one plant and have such drastically different effects in them, right? With one being a lot more negative than the other, and one a lot more helpful than the other, right?
Yeah.
Especially like I read that, like for example, cannabis sativa, both THC and CBD come from that same variation of cannabis.
And they have such big differences,
I know.
huh? So that's really fascinating. Like I never would have thought.
Like, how do you get one plant and there's so many like different.
Exactly. I feel like maybe that was discovered later on. Like maybe CBD was the first discovered part of the plant, and then later on, like, oh, this one's the party one. This one's fun.
Yeah, especially like if you go like, as we talked about earlier, if you go back in history in Central and East Asia, it was used for medicinal purposes.
Mm-hmm. Like
So
I would imagine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're as not I don't want to say empty-headed, irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
Like now we don't have to be as responsible as a lot of our ancestors had to be, right?
That's completely true.
Because that would be just deemed useless. I mean, maybe like a here and there, but not as it is today. But thank you guys so much. Are we missing anything? Is there anything you guys want to add?
I think the only thing I would add is just if anyone is looking, like if they're old enough and they want to get a pack of edibles or get what they want to experience it, I would just say go to the dispensary, do your research, ask the people that work there, because they are more than willing to give you the right information of what you want and what you should take.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recommend going to your friend who knows someone at the mall that can get it to you.
Exactly, right.
Because you don't know what they are putting in.
Yeah, especially there's like a lot of Snapchat dealers out there.
Yeah.
So like they're lacing it and making like their own concoction.
Yeah, you don't know what's in there.
Yeah.
Making like their own like special.
And then they'd be posting it on their story like
look,
sale, hit me up.
Going on deal right now. Like,
2 for $15.
Yeah. Like what you put in there. But no, thank you guys so much. That was really fun. I actually learned a whole lot. I had no idea about all of this negatives and positives and all the differences, especially from you. Thank you so much for that. Because I'm really like, what the heck is sativa indica hybrid? Today. Wow. Is there anything else you guys want to add in before we wrap this up?
No, I think we went over pretty much everything.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was our deep dive into marijuana. Once again, I'm Moni. This is Tatiana, Fadila, and Trevor. Thank you.
If you are interested in a career in sports broadcasting,
whether you're commentating a live game
or hosting your own TV show,
for more information, contact Greg Poff. That's me at solano.edu.
We hope to see you here next semester. And remember,
it's more than just sports. It's an education.